Hey guys, welcome back to Zethythonix channel. You are watching another H.L.M.S episode again. Today is the first episode of Project UZ, which is Sazabi. Since Project UZ is a big topic to cover, so I'll give you guys a clear order right now. Listen to the following information carefully. It will start from Sazabi, New Gundam, Shinanju, and end with Unicorn. So, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it for the notifications. Don't miss the episodes. Turn on your CC sub and enjoy the video. As I mentioned in the Power Rider episode, H.L.M.S was returned as the supreme leader of newborn Neo Zeon in UC0090. One of the changes that he made was military upgrades and reorganization. For the result, AE secretly developed a large number of Gila and 2 Yakudoga for Char's army. Before sending the order to AE, Neo Zeon was experimenting with what they got for that moment. The first testing concept of Sazabi was born. It's called Varguil. Other than being an experimental concept for Sazabi, Neo Zeon was planning to use Varguil to develop a new mass production MS2. First, Varguil was originally planned to be the prototype of testing the next generation Psychomule technology, but this idea was scrapped very soon and the cockpit was replaced with a more conventional Psychomule cockpit. Despite Psychomule testing was scrapped, but the base abilities were still very good. Varguil got a generator which is 1.5 times more powerful than the one on Gila. Instead of titanium alloy ceramic composite, Varguil is using Gundam alloy as its armor, which greatly improved its defense. To improve the speed and maneuverability, multiple thrusters were added on the body, which was later one of the key features on Sazabi. To extend the operation time, there are 2 propellant tanks on the backpack. After they were emptied, they will be ejected to remove dead weight. For the weapons, because Varguil was the experimental concept for Sazabi, so of course the weapons were developed based on the future Sazabi plan. For the close combat options, each forearm was equipped with a butterfly edge. It can be used as remote-controlled boomerangs, but due to the new Psychomule system instability, the remote control time was extremely limited. On the backpack, this is where Varguil stored its beam tomahawk. This tomahawk is a flexible and powerful close combat weapon. It can generate different blades for different situations. For piecing, it would generate a similar blade like Beam Saber. For slashing attacks, it will generate into Beam Hawk. For anti-ship battles, it will use all the emitters to form a Beam Sword. For mid to long range attacks, the Beam Rifle is the primary option. This rifle is the prototype for Beam Shot Rifle on Sazabi. The rifle can fire a standard shot, scattering shot, or grenade rounds. This rifle was also the reason why Sazabi's rifle is powerful. For longer range assaults, a long rifle is the right option. It provided a more powerful shot and got a longer range. As an experimental machine for next generation Psychomule system, Varguil was equipped with 6 funnels on the backpack rack. The funnels were based on the ones on Cubile, but they became larger and greatly extended the operation time. However, the new Psychomule system was very unstable and the pilot's ability was flawed, so the funnels were never used by a Ghost Legato. The only time a Ghost used it was when he cut the right side of the backpack through the whole rack and blew it up on Theta Plus phase. After Varguil's head was severely damaged by Theta Plus, the head was replaced by the one on Psycho Gundam Mark IV G doors. Since the new head is a Gundam head, so Varguil can use the 60mm Falcon gun on the head. When Jutta Kazim was protecting Moon with Varguil, Jutta's new type ability activated the ability in the Gundam head. The new Psychomule system was rewritten and became usable now. Then, the Psycho Plates were called back by G-Door's head, and with Jutta's new type ability, the Psycho Plates destroy all the Medusas in Moon. The Psycho Plates were developed by Titan remnants who derived from Mulasame Laboratory. They were equipped on Psycho Gundam Mark IV G-Doors. However, G-Doors was severely damaged by Armor Race, Rick DJ, and drifted to Moon. The Psycho Plates were sticked onto the outside wall of Moon. That's why Jutta was able to call them back through the Gundam head. During standby mode, the plates will form into a half-moon shape. When they are activated, the plates will turn into red and able to control through the pilot's brain waves. They can be used as defensive or offensive weapon depending on the pilot's will. It also seems like they can deflect beams when they are activated. After Jutta destroyed the Medusas, Varguil was later painted into tricolor scheme and became the Moon Gundam. After Varguil, Yakudoga, and Giladoga's development, newborn Neo Zeon came up with the second prototype of Sazabi, the Sazabi test prototype. However, this prototype is very controversial because none of the materials out there gave a clear proof on who developed this prototype. It might be AE or Neo Zeon, but there's no right answer at the moment. For the prototype Sazabi, there are a lot of differences. Let's point them out clearly. First, the cockpit is using the one like Giradoga and located on the abdomen. Secondly, the mouthpiece is more like the one on Hyakushiki. Thirdly, the funnels were located on the back waist and in a container like Cubile. Fourthly, the backpack is just thrusters and propellant tanks, nothing else. Lastly, the handheld weapon is a large mega beam gun. Unfortunately, I got very little information on the prototype and I don't even know was there a test flight or did it involve in any battles. In early UZ0093, Char S. Nebu himself made an order in AE, which was creating an MS that is suitable for his new type abilities and his superb piloting skills. The result is Sazabi. Although MS-N03 Yakudoga is pretty outstanding for its performance, but for a man who like to be on the front line like Char, it's definitely not good enough and there is room for improvements. First, the developers used Yakudoga as the structure and design base. Then according to those blueprints, they decided to enlarge the size and enhance the overall abilities equally. In the past, the developers learned the lesson that focusing on equipment and firepower were not good enough, because the balance and maneuverability will be trashed once the development is focusing on firepower. So, to ensure Sazabi can move with its big body, the developers used lightweight armor materials for the body, and they also gave 28 thrusters to the Sazabi's body for faster speed, more maneuverable and able to perform precise movements. Just like some of the MS during that era, Sazabi got 2 external propellant tanks on the backpack to extend the operation time. The tanks are constructed with 2 layers. One layer contained the propellant and the other layer for holding extra coolants. After they were empty, they will be purged from the backpack. One of the reasons why Sazabi is so powerful is because of the cockpit in the head. It was equipped with cycle frame. This revolutionary design was proposed by Char and mainly developed by Nana Miguel. It's combining cycle mill system from Xeon with biosensor from Anaheim Electronics. So let me explain the functions and process before moving on to the weapons. Cycle frame is using the advantages from panoramic monitor. An unknown large number of atom-level brainwave to machine code translators were sealed into the metal frame. Basically, the cycle mill chips will shrink and lie in the gaps between the hive-shaped metal particles of the frame. These chips will receive the pilot's brainwave with 0 lags, linking the pilot's thoughts directly to the control system. Instead of completely controlling the movements with your own hands, your mind and brainwave can be part of the operating too. This feature provided a tremendous upgrade for Sazabi's performance, reaction time, and the way of using its funnels. In other words, Char is able to control Sazabi like his own body with limitations. For close combat weapons, a pair of beam sabers were stored in the forearms. They can deploy quickly during close combats. Another beam tomahawk is in the shield. This tomahawk is upgraded from the one on Varguil, but the power output is even stronger. Just like its predecessor, the tomahawk can generate different blades depending on the situations. It can generate a pair of axe blades or one large beam saber. For mid to long range battles, Sazabi can use the 3 missiles in the shield: long beam rifle, beam shot rifle, scattering mega particle cannon, and funnels. The beam shot rifle is designed for Sazabi to use. The size is huge and is powered by a rechargeable energy cap. There are 2 barrels on the rifle, one for normal shot and one for scattering beam blasts. The latter is very similar to what is fired by a shotgun. The scattering megaparticle cannon is located on the abdominal. It's directly connected to the generator, which guarantee about its output, making the cannon can destroy multiple MS with one shot. A very similar cannon design was once attempted on Double Zeta Gundam, but it's very problematic and the developers didn't equip it on the future models. So, for better performance and stability, the cannon on Sazabi was shrank from 15 megawatts on Double Zeta's high mega cannon to 8.8 megawatt on the scattering mega particle cannon. Lastly, there are 6 funnels on the backpack racks just like Varguil. Sazabi's funnels were the same model just like the ones on Yakudoga. Since Char got excellent new type abilities, he was able to use the funnels to shoot down MS, nuclear missiles, or using it to pursue and attack the enemies. Sazabi was first launched when 5th Lunar was being dropped onto Lhasa. Char covered Gyunegasu and his Yakudoga. Char briefly fought against Amuro and his Ligazi. As he was battling against Amuro, he expressed his motivation and claiming to eliminate the people on Earth. Eventually, the time has come and both Char and Gyune were retreated, ending with 5th Lunar was successfully dropped onto Lhasa. As Char decided to drop Axis onto Earth and ordered to light up the thrusters, Sazabi was once again appeared to defend Axis' route. Char fought against Londobel's forces and shot down multiple missiles, including nuclear missiles. In the final battle, Char was prepared and willing to end all the resentment, rivalry, and fight to the death. New Gundam and Sazabi had a tough fight. Both MS hit each other back and forward. No one was gaining the upper hand. In the end, New Gundam and Sazabi ran out of everything. The battle turned into a fist fight. Sazabi was defeated and the cockpit was ejected. The cycle frames were resonated, creating a miracle to drag Axis away from Earth. Both Armorall and Char were confirmed as MIA than KIA, and Sazabi's wreckage was remain on Axis servers for years. As the war became worse and worse, instead of training new types, it's more important to develop a regular MS that can be used by normal pilots. The attempt is Sazabi Heavy Equipment Ground Type. Originally, this MS was supposed to be mass-produced for new type pilots, but later it was changed to a normal MS without cycle mill or cycle frame. In order to adapt ground combats, the funnels were removed. Only the thrusters and propellant tanks were remained. This change also helped to reduce the overall weight. The ground mobility was improved, the firepower was enhanced, and the body armor was reorganized. The weapons were massively changed compared to the original Sazabi. A pair of Falcon guns are on the head, a beam machine gun as primary weapon instead of beam shot rifle, a shield with no tomahawk or missiles but replaced by 2 strand Faust, and a single scattering megaparticle gun. A total of 89 Sazabi ground type was produced. All the units were deployed in Western Europe, Africa, Asia, and North America. One unit was assigned to Lieutenant Kurtz, who made himself an ace on the Eastern Front. He participated in the assault of Verboten Base, which was part of Char's plan to divert EFF's attention away from 5th Luna's dropping. Kurtz destroyed New Gundam pre-test type during this assault, which earned himself a Xeon Cross. In the Battletoads children, Sazabi and New Gundam were never existed. Instead, the corresponding MS are Nightingale and High New Gundam. Sazabi and Nightingale shared a lot of settings, so I will only focus on the new things. Again, Nightingale was developed for Char's personal use. Its abilities were representing the pinnacle of Char's personal combat style. Due to the size was even bigger than Sazabi, instead of 28 thrusters, Nightingale got 56 thrusters on the body to ensure the mobility and speed. With loss of thrusters, the field would surely be consumed quickly. To extend the operation time, Nightingale was equipped with 3 ejectable external propellant tanks on the backpack. Another 2 non-ejectable propellant tanks were in the back skirt, even though they cannot be ejected, but they held a massive amount of fuel which tremendously extended the operation time. In order to surprise the enemy during close combat, a pair of sub-arms were hidden under the front skirts. Each sub-arm have a beam saber on it. Thanks to Char's new type abilities, he can handle the sub-arms and deploy them quickly through a system similar to Cycle Mule. For the weapons, Nightingale basically got a lot of upgraded versions compared to Sazabi. Nightingale got a new pair of Falcon cannon on the side of the chest, which boosts its base defense abilities. Just like Sazabi, the beam sabers are hidden in the forearms and able to deploy quickly. Instead of scattering megaparticle cannon, Nightingale got a beam cannon covered by an armor piece. Once the lower chest armor was lowered, you will see the beam cannon. However, none of the sources suggested that the beam cannon can switch between scattering beams and standard cannon shot. So far, only Beyond showed that Nightingale have a scattering shot. Instead of beam shot rifle, Nightingale is using a much more powerful rifle called Mega Beam Rifle. This rifle is almost as long as Nightingale's tall. Despite the output is slightly lower than beam shot rifle, but Mega Beam Rifle can switch between 3 modes: a standard shot, scattering beam blast, or a focus shot that is nearly as powerful as a shot from Mega Bazooka launcher. There is a foldable bipod at the front. The function of the bipod is for precise firing during long-range attacks. Nightingale and Sazabi share the same shield. The shield contains 3 micro missiles and a beam tomahawk just like Sazabi. Another obvious change compared to Sazabi is the funnels. While Sazabi only got 6 of them, but Nightingale got 10 of them. The ones on Nightingale were developed from Cycle Dogga, but improved the power and extended the operation time. The size of the funnels was smaller than the ones on Alpha Agiru, but since the size is bigger than the ones on Sazabi, it's assumed to be stronger. As for the performance in the manga, the plot is pretty much the same like the movie version, so I already explained the plots and I will skip on the Nightingale part. The following information is not accepted by the officials, which were the 2 variations in Gaia gear. Since Gaia gear is not admitted by the officials, you can say it's dark history, but I would like to introduce them too. In UZ0110, AE created early Zorin Zo based on Sazabi's data. Unfortunately, due to the expensive cost, the plan was cancelled. So this MS was sealed and abandoned in the factory for 93 years before being found in UZ0203 by Metatron, an anti-federal government different organization. After Megatron recovered the Zorin Zo, they upgraded the avionics and repaired the Psychomule system, turning it into man-machine. However, I don't have enough information, so I'm unsure what's the difference between MS and MM. But I do know the Psychomule system upgrades during this era. Every pilot can use Psychomule system whether you are a new type or not. However, it will add a lot of stress on the normal pilots to the point they could become permanently handicapped to prevent any tragedies. If the system detects that the pilot isn't a new type, Psychomule system will not activate unless you turn it on manually. For MS that was developed 93 years ago, the technologies were surprisingly advanced in UC-0203. First, since Zorin Zo was developed along with the 5th generation Gundams like Penelope and Sea Gundam, so it got Minovsky craft to help itself to fly in the atmosphere freely. Secondly, Zorin Zo was equipped with Minovsky motor and drive unit for burst attacks, as well as improving the overall abilities. Thirdly, its weapons were considered as advanced, despite there is a 93 years gap. Lastly, the fin-looking armor on the body is a balancer, as well as flight and amber control unit. There is another setting for the fin-looking armor. Some of the sources suggested that the fin-looking armor can disrupt eye field, but this information is a bit arguable, so you can treat this like a fun fact or extra fact. First, the 60mm Falcon gun was kept when it was developed. The main weapon is called PAC-34A electrochemical gun. This gun will shoot out a multi-stage shaped explosive. This explosive is very powerful and it will launch with super fast speed, which means the penetrating power is excellent too. After the shooting is completed, the top and bottom armor parts will be opened and forcefully start the cooling process. Also discharge surplus power. A unique shield called Zorin Zo shield was equipped on Zorin Zo. The shield can generate Minovsky barrier to prevent beam attacks. Another 2 Zorin funnels were hidden at the back of the shield, and there were 4 funnels located on the side and back skirts. The funnels were the improved and miniaturized version of the ones on New Gundam. The funnel is formed by a propellant tank, 3 fin parts, a thruster, and energy cap. Other than attacking the enemies, the funnels can also generate a similar barrier like fin funnel barrier. Despite the overall abilities were improved, but because the size was even smaller than fin funnel, so the funnels will need to recharge after a short period. Let's say the abilities became better, but the operation time is a bit questionable. For Zorin Zo, I will skip about its performance in the story and listen to me carefully. I did find the novel, but it was incomplete. It's either missing a paragraph or the novel wasn't even fully translated. I tried to use some translation tools or looking for different translated versions, but the result was pretty bad and it didn't translate it correctly. To avoid wrong battle records, I chose to skip about the story of Zorin Zo's records. But I mean, the story itself wasn't approved by the officials anyway, so how about just skip on this one? Thanks for watching the Sazabi video. What do you think about H.L.M.S Final MS? Tell me more in the comments and I would love to discuss with you guys. Make sure to comment your request too, I would love to know it. You can clearly see the next episode teaser. If you don't want to miss it, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit the bell next to it. Follow my IG at Zethythonix, donation link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.